Hey guys, this video is going to be about how to choose a brokerage account. Should you choose Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard? I'm going to go over all three and talk about the pros and cons to all of them. All right, guys, there are three main brokerage companies in the United States. You have Schwab, you have Vanguard, and you have Fidelity. Now, here's what's interesting about the three of them. They have three completely different corporate structures. One is publicly traded, Schwab, one is private, Fidelity, and one's owned by the investors. It seems kind of weird, but three different structures. And it's kind of neat, isn't it, that the three biggest, what I'm going to call brokerage companies today, have three different corporate structures. And it really drives the personality of all of them. So I want to talk about pros and cons with all three and then tell you my takeaway. I have all my information here. And so depending on what is important to you, that's going to really have you look to one or the other. So the first thing is, do you want a physical location? Do you want to be able to go in to an office every once in a while if you have to get a check or to do a form? If you do not pick Vanguard. They have 4 physical locations in the country. Why? Because they're investor owned and they want to keep their expenses down. And how do you do that? You don't have any physical locations. Fidelity has physical locations and so does Schwab. So if physical locations going in is important to you, then you have to pick Fidelity or Schwab. Okay, the next. Do you want to trade at all or have any sort of trading? Like, is that in your future? Do you like to trade? Are you interested in trading? Are you curious about trading? If you are, you can't go with Vanguard. They have nothing on their platform with trading. Fidelity does and Schwab does. Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. Okay, so that's good because TD Ameritrade's actually better than those other three. Like if we had 4 to choose from, I'd say go with TD Ameritrade. Their user experience, they're more caught up with the 21st century. Their user interface, they have the best trading platform, but Schwab bought them. So it's Schwab now. They did a $22 billion all stock acquisition. You can do that when you're a publicly traded company. So if you want to do trading, probably Schwab's going to be the best. I've never done any trading on Fidelity, but Fidelity is a mutual fund company that became a brokerage company. Vanguard's an index company that became a brokerage company. Schwab's always been cutting edge. Charles Schwab was the guy back in the late 70s who said fees are too high. There's basically 2 people that have changed the face of investing, Charles Schwab and Jack Bogle. That's it. Jack Bogle started Vanguard. Charles Schwab started Charles Schwab. So that alone, I love. Again, not again, but Vanguard's very old world. Their website stuck in like 1985. Like there's just not a lot to it. It's clunky. It's old. Fidelity's website has a lot of green on it. I happen to like Schwab's website the best. They have the best user interface. And again, TD Ameritrade, even a better user interface. So if how the website looks and feels and works, then that's going to be a Schwab kind of choice for you. The way I think of Schwab is it's really the most progressive. And TD Ameritrade was the most progressive out of all 4 of them, and they bought them. Fidelity, again, its history, its roots are selling mutual funds. They have pivoted because they've had to, but they were definitely slow to it. So there's kind of that, whenever I think of Fidelity, I always think of kind of that old world mutual fund-like company. Interesting thing, if you want a credit card, a Schwab and Fidelity have credit cards. Vanguard doesn't make sense. Vanguard's not progressive. They're old school. They're investor-based. They want to keep their expenses low. If you want to borrow, it's about the same to borrow from all of them. Especially the smaller amount, it's somewhere between 8 1/3 to 8.5% to borrow. The higher up you go, the lower the rates go. And Fidelity and Vanguard have the lowest rates when you're borrowing $1 million or more. Schwab actually has the highest when you're borrowing about $1 million. So if borrowing money or having money on margin, if you're up at the $1 million plus, then Fidelity is probably going to be your best choice. The neat thing about Vanguard is because they're investor focused and they're, not investor focused, but investor owned, they are likely to give you the most interest on your cash. where Fidelity and Schwab are kind of more like a bank where they're not going to give you much for it. They're going to borrow your money or use your money and invest it for themselves and give you, 1 or 2 basis points or 20 or 30 basis points, where Vanguard's very likely to give you 40, 60, 70 basis points on your cash. So that's what's nice. If you have a lot of cash, then Vanguard would be the place you want to go. So put all of that together. User interface is important to me. I want a good user interface. I want a good user experience. What's also important to me is customer service. I think Schwab's customer service is amazing. I'm able to pick up the phone, talk to a sensible, knowledgeable person. Now, by the way, guys, I have my accounts at Schwab, so I think I'm biased because I'm also kind of a prickly guy. I'm not the easiest client, so I kind of expect a lot, and they are very deep and wide in their knowledge and how they're able to help, so I like that. So let's do a little wrap up here. If you are a full-on buy and hold, own a couple symbols, okay? Never gonna change anything, like severe buy and hold, probably be with Vanguard because they are gonna be the cheapest on all that. If you actually wanna do stuff with your money and trade it and have good user interface and have good customer service and be able to drive somewhere if you need to do it in person, which I've had to do over the last decade, last minute stuff not working. It's great to know that you can just drive over to, one of their locations and get something done. So though I've barely used it, it's been really nice in those, tight situations. If you like trading or you like user interface, it's really down to Fidelity and Schwab. And if you put all of that together, the thing that stands out the most to me, and I talked about this a little bit just maybe 2 minutes ago, Schwab's the progressive company. Schwab's been pushing the boundaries on trading fees and commissions since the late 70s. That was Charles Schwab's whole thing, lower commissions. They weren't the first to do it. Robinhood was, but everyone followed suit immediately. And as far as which one had the cheapest funds and the cheapest ETFs, the first thing is they're all so cheap today, it doesn't really matter. But last time I looked, it actually wasn't Vanguard that had the cheapest management fees, right? It was actually Fidelity and Schwab's fees that were much cheaper. So it does pay that if you want to have the lowest. But again, we're talking like pennies. One's maybe 3 pennies for every $100 for an ETF or a fund, and one's 2 pennies and one's 4 pennies. I mean, it doesn't matter. So to me, the big takeaway in putting a kind of a bow on this is customer service is paramount. I want to be able to pick up the phone. Is it because I'm older? I don't know. I just love being able to pick up a phone and call and get someone. And I love good interface with the website because I'm on it a lot. And so to me, Schwab is the clear winner. If you're just really perseverating, like, I don't know which one, they're all good. You can't, literally, they're all good. You can't go wrong with any of them. So the most important thing is that you are in action. Forward slowly is better than not moving at all. Thanks, guys, for being in my world. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please hit the like button or leave a comment. And of course, if you like this video, you'll love the other ones I have for you. Thanks for being in my world, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.